comments and also for the rebukes which I take on behalf of those of us who say that we are teaching at the university. So I'll start with question number one from Council. Council Ronald, who is also my namesake. So first of all, I'll talk about what I am personally doing, because sometimes we speak and do nothing. So I've started 2 programs, or maybe 3. The first one, to address the challenge of the boy child, is the maleness versus manhood conversation that happens. We are going to have one at the end of this semester, where we have frank conversations on what is happening and what we can do about it. Number 2, I encourage my students to buy my book right from first year. And I know many laugh at me and start just trying to make some money and so on. But those who have read the book have made decisions that have helped them much earlier. For example, looking for a mentor, or getting involved in co-curricular activities like, for the lawyers, what we call mooting. Mooting causes you to learn how to do research. It causes you to learn how to write. It causes you to become confident in the way you speak. So we intentionally encourage that amongst them. But even our teaching has taken on a revolution. We have what we call the Public Interest Law Clinic that has introduced clinical ways of teaching, which are practical ways of teaching. Even the way we do the courseworks has started changing to make it more practical for the students. Those days we tell a student to write something and would mark it. Nowadays, for example, in my criminology class, I send them to interface with institutions that are dealing with either the punishment, prevention, or prosecution of crime, even the defense of those who have been accused. Get a practical understanding of how that works and how it can help you. We also encourage students, for example, to take on courses, we call it auditing courses, that deal with English, the writing, to address that problem you talked about, which I totally agree with, because when I was in the law firm where I was first employed and I was supervising clerkship students, it became absolutely clear that we are not teaching people how to write. We assume they know how to write, which is not true. So auditing courses on English writing. The university now has also introduced a new program that is introducing specific courses and specific training, first for the lecturers, then for the students, on how to practically apply skills into their learning. And the Ministry of Education with the Vice Chancellor's Office has started doing that. I then also hold what I call leadership talks. The leadership talks are not strictly about leadership. It's about all affairs. And that's why in the last chapter of my book, I give advice to lecturers, to students. I give advice even on boy-girl relationships, because those also have a huge impact they play on the student. But mainly, I would like to push that one, both those who have left the institutions or those of you who are still there, you must be self-aware. Who are you? Because once you get to know who you are, you get to know your shortcomings and your strong points, and then you're able to address the issues. But more importantly, going to Grace's question, the book talks about even getting some idea on what your values are. What are your values? Because if you have a certain line of value system, it becomes even easy for you to make certain decisions. You get it? Because you have certain values, you can make certain decisions easily. If you have no value, it becomes very difficult for you to have any rails on which to run. The values are like your rails, like for the train. The train doesn't go anywhere, everywhere like the border. It is guided by certain value systems. My headmaster in my former school, Mwiri, used to say, he used to talk about the 3 C's: consult, conquer, communicate. Consult, conquer, communicate. Who do you consult? And see, consultation is a lifelong journey. Up to today, I'm always consulting about things I need to do. Now my children want to join university, and they want to go to abroad. They want to go. They have all these fancy ideas about universities in America and so on. I am consulting, but most of my consultations are saying, first let them study here for their first degree, then they will go for specific reasons. But I'm consulting. Then I have to concur with my wife, to agree. And many times we don't do that before we can communicate. If I had more time, there is a portion in my presentation which talks about finding out what your true north is. Your true north is an important aspect of your life. Your true north is about your values, the things you hold dear, the things that guide you, so that when they say so and so, people can identify what that person can and cannot do. What is your true north? Your true north is like your compass. It's like your compass. So even us as lecturers, we need to ask ourselves, why are we lecturing? Are you lecturing because it's a job? Or do you want to give back to society? Sometimes we do jobs just because we want the money. And as a result, we do a very shoddy job. So there's been consistent push for us as lecturers to revisit the reasons as to why we started teaching or lecturing or guiding. Because lecturing is about mentorship, it's about listening, it's about providing counsel, among other things. And I can tell you, I have tried to invest a little bit of my time in doing that. And I can see in the people who have been in my circle, there is a difference. I don't think there is anyone in my circle who has failed to do a job or who is doing a shoddy job. Because first of all, when they go to work, the places they go to work, I'm the one who recommends them there. And I recommend them because I already have a relationship with the place where they are working. And those people say, if whoever has recommended you, we shall take a chance on you. Because we know the person who has recommended you. I can't recommend anybody anyhow. Are we together? So just to answer that, I'm doing something, the university has started doing something, and I think there is progress. It is slow, but there is something happening. But I would like to encourage as many of our alumni as possible to come back. We need you. You have practical ideas which these young people will benefit from. So come back and ask for an hour, ask for 30 minutes just to speak to these young people. The same way that some of us go back to our old schools and speak to them. That information is very helpful. It's very key. It supports the people very well. There is a question that was on how do we decide. No, let's start with the question on what is that one thing. I personally feel that the clincher for young people is going to be on who is mentoring them. Because And I know there are some traditional proverbs to this regard. If there is no one talking to you, you can't make it in life. Let me put it that way. You may become an outlier and survive through, but with a lot of struggle. I mean, by a show of hands, how many of you here have a mentor? The young people. By a show of hands. Okay. Which is a good thing. Although some hands are halfway. I'm not sure what that means. I think that when you see, our parents can't do everything for us. You need someone else to hold your hand. And I can tell you, my hand has been held by many people. Yeah. It even comes to things such as marriage. Someone has to hold your hand and say, that one don't go, this one go. Look out for this in a woman, look out for this in a man. You need someone to help you, to guide you. And therefore, I think when we have more mentors or mentoring relationships, I see even in the Bible, in life, in many places where there is mentorship, people are able to make it. But when there is no mentorship, it's difficult. I think number 2 should also be, the Bible talks about in Proverbs 4:20, in all you're getting, get what? Get knowledge, get wisdom. There must be an intentionality in building the muscle of our brain. And after you've gotten that knowledge, in being able to apply it wisely. Just because I know that I can propagate seed with a woman does not mean that I should keep on spraying my seed all over the place. I keep telling, for example, people who care to listen, that sex is expensive. Especially for us men, sex is expensive. Because when you beget a child, you have to look after that child. Yeah. Or you might be unlucky, your sexual relationship becomes a crime scene. Yeah. You get what I mean? Or you have sex with a person whose character you did not know, and for the rest of your life you're battling over some children that you have produced. So sex is expensive. You ask me how much I'm paying in school dues for my 4 children. It's expensive. Ask any married man who got married properly how much he has had to pay in bride price. I don't know, decorations. These days decorations are, I don't know, 10 million, 20 million. What are that? Anyway, that's right. But sex is expensive. Yeah, it's expensive. Now my children are saying they want to study in America. Where am I going to get those dollars? Sex is expensive. So you need somebody to prepare you, to tell you about the birds and the bees, but also the after effects. I don't know if you get what I mean.